Welcome everyone to Overcome Podcast, episode 50. And to celebrate this fifth episode, we have here today multiple times world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, my friend Rafael Formiga. Rafael, thank you very much for being here today.
Welcome, guys. Thank you for inviting me, Yuri. Thank you.
Rafael, we talk a lot about overcoming challenges, and as a multiple times world champion and a gin owner, I know that there is a lot of things that you overcame just for the fact to be here, right? So let's start back in the day when you were still in Brazil. Um, a lot of people say that the challenge in jiu-jitsu really start when you become a black belt, but do you agree that until you get to that point, the challenges are not so big, and most of the challenges will start when you become a black belt?
I agree and disagree. I agree because when you get a black belt, a lot of people think, oh, right now I'm a black belt, I can relax. It's the opposite, right? When you get a black belt, everything becomes harder because you have the heavy belt in your waist, and now you gotta like really work hard to keep your level. You cannot relax anymore because if you relax, the new generation come and then you're gonna be done. That's my vision. But also to be able to get as a black belt, become a black belt, you gotta work hard a lot. And that's not easy at all. Like a lot of times in my journey, I've thought about to just stop training, stop competing, and try to find a real job. Right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what my parents asking me. Oh, stop playing jiu-jitsu. Go find a real job and make good money. You got to study and go to the college, and then like thank God I didn't listen to them and then end up here and now I can live just by jiu-jitsu. Now I do nothing besides jiu-jitsu. That's my main job. My whole family just provide the money just come from my jiu-jitsu academy and my jiu-jitsu competition sponsorship, everything between just jiu-jitsu.
This is great, and I think you touched a really important point because a lot of people, I think, have the same struggle in the beginning, and many times when we are part of the color belt, blue, purple, brown, there are many times that we think of giving up because it's really hard. Sometimes things don't work the way that you want. And what would be your advice for people that are starting and are getting frustrated that they think they are not learning? What would be your advice to continue to evolve?
uh my advice, like, of course, between enjoy the journey, because like everybody has that time when you got in some point and you thought you just stuck in there, and that happen with a lot of times, have happen with a lot of people, but if you keep training, somehow some new technique will show up, some new thing gonna come to you, and that's gonna be a game change, and then everything gonna one single day you go in that level for 1 year, and so one single thing people show you, a new technique can be a little grip, whatever thing can be a game change, and then we start to develop a new technique again, everything starts to go up one more time,
Hmm.
and then again another plateau, and then you stay a little bit there until you get another new thing, and then start to go up one more time. That's just the journey in jiu-jitsu. That happens with everybody. I can guarantee every single person who is a black belt or color belt already passed for there, and then those guys who's become a successful black belt was those person who didn't give up in the time that happened.
Yep.
I have so many really good friends who is used to destroy me in jiu-jitsu, you know, and those guys just quit for no reason or for some of those reasons maybe, and those guys can be way better than me, and now they have another job, they're not happy, and I was one of the person who is never give up. I always try to continue, keep my focus, keep my constant goal training, and then that's why I'm here. That's why I'm like, people ask, what is your secret to be good in competition, be good as a professor? I just keep doing. I never stop, never stop. Every single time I try to learn new things. I try to learn the new techniques with my students. I'm a big fan from cross training. I tell my students to always go cross training with other people. I'm
Oh,
completely,
really? That's
yeah,
really that's rare because most of the Brazilian professors they don't like cross training.
exactly. I'm the opposite from the old generation, BJJ schools. Like I encourage my guys to go cross training, because in my opinion, that's the best way to be a little competitor without competing. Makes sense? Like, training with you, we never train together. I don't know your game. You don't know my game. And then first time you're training, gonna be like a little real match in the competition, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have the pressure to win or lose because I don't care. That's just training, you know? And that teaches me how to deal with different people every single time. And also teaching me how to learn with other people. And then after I start to tell my students to cross train, my gym start to get way better because my students get way better. And also, I just for you to see one good example, I have one blue belt a long time ago in Connecticut when people start to do the warm guard, you know, and that blue belt loves the warm guard, and he paid to do the seminar with Keenan Cornelius, one of the best business in the warm guard, right?
Yep.
The person create. And then I told him, please go there. And like he asked me my advice. Can I go? I said, man, please go. And when he come back, teach me everything that he learned. And he got back to my place and he teach me every single thing he learned in that seminar. And I just learned it warm guard with my blue belt. That's crazy. People say, man, you're black belt. In that point, I think I was 4th degree already. And he say, man, you black belt 4th degree. And then you ask for your blue belt teacher. I say, yeah, man, that's the opportunity I have. I didn't have time to go learn with Keenan that day. And then that's why I learned with my blue belt, you know?
That's
people,
awesome.
Yeah, the people is not humble enough to learn, but I mean, I am. I don't care. I just, whatever person who can teach me, if I see a good technique, I will be like, really pay attention, learning from anyone. I don't care.
That's really honorable, because I know also that in this sports there is a lot of ego about when you reach black belt you're like untouchable and you only listen to other black belts. So that's really cool from you to do that. Now you have a really extensive curriculum when it comes to competition. How do you stay healthy or at least injury free to be able to compete so much? Because it takes a toll on your body, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you ever had a major injury that you had to stop for some time.
Never. Thank you, God, never. I started training I was 10. I'm 39 now. For 29 years, I'm on the match every single day. I think the long time off I take was 1 month for vacation. I never take it longer than 1 month time off the match. No injuries, never did a surgery because Jiu-Jitsu. I did a few surgeries not because Jiu-Jitsu. No injuries in Jiu-Jitsu at all. And then I think the secret for that happening is 2 things. One, my game help. That's luck, okay? The butterfly game, I'm kind of doesn't smash my body too much. I never upside down. I don't get like crazy rollings over my neck, you know. That helped me to don't injure myself. And then awesome, I don't have ego. I'm the first person to tap when I'm training. You're never gonna see, man, look, Formiga, he almost let the guy break his arm. No, never happen. Maybe in competition, but never in the gym. And mostly people get injuries in the gym, not in the competition, right?
Yep.
And because like I know my limits, and I'm always gonna tap before I get that limit, you know, because I don't want to hurt myself. And I really think it's a dumb mistake take it to that way, you know. I know a lot of young guys who say, no, I let it break, I don't care, you know, I just want to be tough. In my mind, if you break your arm, you're gonna be 1 year, 6 months off the match, and that's really dumb because you're gonna take like 6 months not learning, not see, be off shaping, you know, like that's my opinion. Is the worst decision the person can have is take the limit in the point you hurt yourself and not be able to keep going, you know. And that's like you said, is ego. Most of the time is ego the problem. Now people like, oh, I don't want to tap for that blue belt, for the purple belt, brown belt, whatever belt the guy is. And that's most of the time when the guy get an injury, you know.
So even when you were like blue, purple, you never had any injury?
Never got any injury. Thank you, God. I think few facts help me, you know. When you start young, you kind of building your body to do what you're doing, right?
Right.
I match every day for 29 years, you know. I used to train between 10 to 28 years old. I used to train 3 times a day, you know. My whole body was building training jiu-jitsu, you know. Like I'm not too flexible, but for jiu-jitsu I'm crazy flexible. Makes sense. Like if you ask me, Formiga, can you touch your toe when you're standing? No, But can you bring both your legs above your head? Yes, because that's my game, you know. I play recovering my leg all the time, you know. My jiu-jitsu is my body's all building around jiu-jitsu, and I think that's one of the reasons I don't get a lot of injuries as well.
So you don't really do any other training other than jiu-jitsu, like lift weight? You don't do anything like that?
I started to lift weight maybe 6 months ago. I mean, I did it like in my prime, you know, when I was between 18 to 32. I did seasons for preparation. You know, I do physical condition, not lifting, physical conditions, you know, like kind of CrossFit, you know, like we do like some like circuit trainings, you know, those things. But lifting, like just go to the gym lifting like everybody does. I just started 6 months ago because I start to feel my elbows, my shoulder, my knee a little bit loose. And I start to lift like a little, really old man, like an old man, just to make sure I'm building muscle around my joints to be able to don't injure myself. That's what I'm doing now. I do 3 times a week. I lift on the gym 3 times a week from 6 months ago to now, you know.
And nowadays, you still training every day jiu-jitsu?
I do train every day, and I train with all my young guys. You know, I don't have, I mean, I have 3 guys on my age. Marcos Antelanche is the one. My main trainer is him. He's from IBJJF, won my black belt. He joined IBJJF, and Marcos is my main trainer my age. You know, we are same division. We close all the competition together. Thank you for having him on my team because not on my team, on my group, because that way you can really test yourself and see how you're going. You know, but beside him, most of my guys is below 30s, you know, and that helped me a lot because I want to push like they push. And in my mind, I think like if they can do that, I can do as well. And then that's why I'm doing that, keep pushing me and keep myself a little young, you know.
So last year you finished as #1 in your division, #1 rank in the IBJJF rank, right?
You're right. The last 9 years, since I joined the Master Division when I turned 30, until now I'm the #1 overall in the rank, yes.
And okay, so after 9 years being the #1 in your division, year over year, what really motivates you to do it so good another year, right? Because a lot of people, when they get to that point, they were like, okay, I'm gonna slow down this year, I'm not gonna compete that much, I'm gonna take care of my business. There is also a lot of people that say, now I have to concentrate on my business, I'm gonna take 1 year off. You never thought about this?
Yes, but soon I take a month off not competing, I just say, no, that's not for me, I need to compete. I be honest, I think the competition was keeping me motivated for keep teaching, keep training, and do everything. If I don't have one competition, let's say I already started my camp for PNMs, right? My personal camp, not my camp for my students, you know. Right. I already start to push myself for the day we start the camp. I be ready for the camp, you know, and that's pumped me up. You know, I already trained way better. I don't miss any day on the gym lifting. I do everything, eat clean. You know, I try to do everything to put myself in shape, be ready for competition. You know, and I think those competition is the main reason to keep me training, keep me competing. All the time I do the preparation, I think, why am I doing that? I'm 39 years old. I have nothing to prove.
Right, you have nothing to prove, exactly.
Like, so I win the competition, I say, that's why. That's why I'm here. I love that feeling to be the best guy in that day. You know, I know that's not me. I'm the best guy ever. I'm the best guy in that day, you know. Maybe the next day, one guy can beat me again, you know. But I try to don't let that happen in training even more to the next time be able to beat even better the next guy, the same guy, you know.
Yeah, I was talking to Megaton Diaz when we were at the Oklahoma City Open recently, and I asked a similar question to him. And one thing that has happened with him is that he already achieved so many things in the master that now he is competing in the adults division, and he said that is like an additional challenge for him. Do you also think that you're gonna do that at some point?
I thought about, but the problem, the only competition I want to do as adult is gonna be the world adult, and to compete in the world adult, you need to score points. And to score points, I need to compete in those opens as adult, you know? Right. Honestly, I don't think I have. Maybe people say yes, but I don't think I have the talent anymore, you know, because I can tell when I roll with the young guys on my division, I can tell the speed is different, you know. I can do really well for 6 or 7 minutes, you know, maybe 8, but I don't think I can do really good for 10 minutes. And if I cannot be a champion, I don't see why I'm going to do that. You know, like, what's the point to go there and win 1 or 2 matches and get beat up in the 31 when I get somebody in the high level, you know? And that's the only reason I'm not doing. Maybe if I do a single match, let's say I get the world champion as in the middleweight, that's my division, to do a super fight. I think that way I can take, because I can definitely take somebody for 10 minutes, but I don't think I will be able to compete in 6 rounds, 10 minutes, like in the competition, like a world or any other competition fight. You know, I think like after 2 or 3 rounds, my cardio gonna start to go down, and the young guys get still going up, you know. And I think that can be a problem.
It's hard. It's really hard. And Megatron was telling me that with this young generation, they are so fast that when you are thinking about the movement, they are like 2 movements ahead. Just because they are just too fast. So you feel the same way?
Definitely, 100%. You know, I start to change my game to training for those guys. You know, my main game is butterfly and X squat, single X. What an open game, you know. And when I go with those young guys, I try to play more lapel, lasso, you know, because that way you can stop the speed. And then technique, I think my technique maybe is better than a lot of those guys. But like the speed and the strength, they definitely can beat me, you know. And I try to use the technique to stop there and kind of equal, you know. That's the way I do when I train with those guys in the gym. You know?
And in the master division, you feel comfortable where you are, or you plan to, for example, move up so you don't have to cut weight anymore?
No, I like to be in the middleweight, you know. I like to play open class as well, right? I've been doing like always middleweight and open class, and maybe go up to middle heavy, gonna be good. But the problem about I go up to middle heavy, I'm not that tall, and I will put in more fat. I don't want to be fat. I want to be lean, you know. That's why I keep middleweight. I don't need to do crazy diet to be middleweight. I fought Dallas Open. You saw that last week. And then I was 2 pounds over, eating everything, 2 pounds. I cut 2 pounds.
Wow.
And 2 days before, I just do cuts. I didn't drink any soda. And I start to eat clean for 2 days, and I cut those 2 pounds, and that's it. You know, that was my diet for Dallas Open.
So you don't have to sacrifice anything.
No, not anymore. I used to do a lot, but not anymore. Now I mean, like, that's my natural way. I walk around 182, 185. You know, I just need to cut for 178. You know, and that's fine. I was 181 the last competition before I check my weight. You know.
That's great. That's great. And when it comes to the business, how do you keep this two? Because at the end of the day, it's almost like two Formiga, right? The Formiga business owner that have to worry about the business and how the business is growing, and the Formiga athlete. How do you keep that balance?
Yeah, that was a challenge for me when I started. You know, I have my academy for 2 years. I always teach for somebody else until 2 years ago when we decided to open the academy. The first year was hard to understand how the balance there, you know. Like, okay, I need to be full-time on the gym, because now pretty much me and my wife, we do everything. I clean the gym, we do front desk, we do the phone calls, we respond all the leads, you know. That's not easy, but me and my wife, we work really well as a team, you know. I take care about people when they walk in on the match, and she take care about the people before they walk in, you know, like everything, internet, people calling, you know, everything, that's with her. And then soon they walk in the gym, that's with me, you know, and that work really easy. That's pretty much what I'm doing for my whole life, you know, and that work really well. And now I'm able to manage it. Thank you, God, you're doing really good here. I'm able to have 3 structures now. You know, I have Victoria Seas, 1 purple belt. She's crazy good, world champion. I have Monique. She's really good. She's like a brown belt, world champion as well. You know, and I have Rodrigo. That's Tatu, my partner, young brother, Rodrigo Lopes. He's my right arm. He's the black belt, 20 years old, 28 years old. He been helping me a lot. Between those 3 guys and me, we've been working really well here.
And Formiga, because you said you are black belt, how many degrees?
Fifth degree.
Fifth degree. So every time that you have to increase your degree, do you go back to Brazil to your original sensei to give you the degree?
No, my both. I have two coaches, right? My coach, his name is Alexei Cruz and André Almeida, and both live here. One living in Maine, Alexei Cruz live in Maine, and the Deco, André Almeida, he live in Boston. You know, and I just got I recently was in December. I got my fifth degree, and I bring both to teach a seminar in my academy, and they win both.
Oh, nice, very cool, very cool.
All the time I need to get learning new techniques or get any stripes, I go to the academy with them, and then we're able to train together.
Now, the Jiu-Jitsu is definitely your life. You live for that, so you are used to the challenge. You are used to take new challenges and move on. Now, we as immigrants coming from Brazil, myself included, we always have some challenges when we move from Brazil to here. For you, what was the main challenge when you moved?
I think the main challenge was the language. You know, I didn't speak any English when I got here. It was zero English, zero, nothing. I didn't get my only word I know is how much, but I don't understand when people say how much it is the price. And then I start to learn on my way. I moved to US 12 years ago, and we don't have a smartphone at that point. I used to have the book and to find the words, you know, I say the word in Portuguese and try to find the words in there and go translate, you know, the dictionary, you know, like it was crazy hard than now. Now I can Google. I don't know, maybe it was easy to me to learn at that point because I think now people use the Google Translate and people doesn't try to study.
Right.
I was forced to study because they don't have a Google Translate or anything like that. And then they forced me to learn the English, but I pretty much learning all the English teaching Jiu-Jitsu. Was everything on the match, you know. I'm really glad to have Jiu-Jitsu. And also I think because people really want to understand me, everybody has take a time to try to understand and try to teach me something, and that helped me to make myself learn a little bit fast, you know.
Yeah. And did you move straight to Texas, or you were in a different place?
From Brazil to Connecticut. I live in Connecticut for 7 years, and then 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, I moved to here, Texas. And I'm super happy here. That's definitely the best change I did in my life was moving from Connecticut to here. Nothing against Connecticut. I love all my students in Connecticut, all the people in Connecticut. But Connecticut is super cold. The weather is terrible. And I'm from Rio de Janeiro, right?
Yeah.
Rio de Janeiro has a hot weather. The winter in Rio de Janeiro is about 65 degrees, you know. And in Connecticut, we have 5 months super cold, you know. And then, like, I did every single time in the winter, I got a little depressed. I want to move back to Brazil.
Yeah.
And I decided to move to Texas was the best thing I did in my life.
Yeah, and I can totally relate to that because I'm from Fortaleza. We are a little bit harder than you in Rio, so we are 75 all year long. But it's great. I love Texas. I love the weather, the people, and actually during the pandemic, Texas was one of the strongest states that kept Jiu-Jitsu going while everyone else was closed.
Yes, I remember. Like, I still have a lot of affiliation in Connecticut and New York, right? And then, like, we are open here, full session. Everybody, no mask, training, everything, like 4 months after COVID hit, right? And then I went to New York to competing. And then getting there, all the academies closed. That's 1 year after. I said, man, what you guys, that's crazy. That's completely another word to me. Because, like, we don't have masks anymore. We don't talk about COVID, and you guys, everything is still closed. Nobody working. It's crazy. That was crazy for me to see that. I'm glad to be in Texas, definitely, man. Texas and Florida definitely is the best state in the U.S. now, for sure.
Yeah, so talking about Florida, the Pan AM will be in Florida in April, next month already. So when for a competition like that, you said that you start the camp. So you usually start a camp like 1 month before, or depends on the competition?
No, the camp, my camp starts 1 month before. What I'm doing, I try to prepare myself 2 weeks before the camp. And the camp I do 2 weeks before the competition. That takes me 4 weeks, right? I start to training, eating better, eat a little bit clean, start to lift a little bit heavy. That way I will building some muscle on my body to be ready for the camp. And then 2 weeks before the competition, we have the camp with all the students coming, people from another country, another states to do the camp with us.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So that's the one of the biggest change, because you're gonna have more people training with you, right?
Yes, we have. Last year we did a Pan Am's camp, World Adult Camp, World Master Camp, and World No-Gi Camp. We have about 100 people on the match. And from those 100 people, I would say at least 20 or 25 is from another state or another country to come to training for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
And during the camp, you are basically doing rows. There is also technique.
No, it's a lot of technique, a lot of drilling. Besides to warm up, running, and do all those things we used to do in the past, right? We drill techniques. We show a lot of techniques. We try to show at least 3 techniques every single day in the camp. And from those techniques, depend what day, we can go for a specific training, just talk about the technique you do during the week, or we can put situations, we do a lot of different things, not just rolling. We do rolling, but just 2 times a week. The other 3 times or 4 times a week, we're going to do something different before we go for the rolling,
Yeah. That's great. Now changing gears a little bit here, because I'm gonna touch in an area that is very important, also mainly for the masters and for people that are starting. There is a big debate about starting jiu-jitsu after 40s, because your body is not conditioned like yours was conditioned since you were young. But when you start after 40, you have a lot of limitations on the flexibility in a lot of things. So what one should do when they start late to train jiu-jitsu? What are some of the key things that you recommend to this person to continue to evolve? Because sometimes after 40, it's really hard for you to train like every single day, rolling every single day, right? So how can you continue to evolve at the same time that you are saving your body and avoiding injuries?
That's a good question. First, I think if you train at least 3 times a week, that's enough. Okay. And if you're over 40, my recommendation: 1 day training, a day off. Day training, another day off. That way you give enough time for your body to recover and be ready for the next day, right? And also, my suggestion is don't do what people tell you to do. Try to do what your body allows you to do, all right? Let's say I show tonight De La Riva sweep. And for some reason, I'm too old, my leg doesn't move well to be around the leg and put the hook, right? My body tells me that's not a good position for myself, right? I need to go for my coach and say, listen, coach, I understand the technique, I can see what's coming, but my leg is not flexible enough, I don't have strength enough for whatever reason to do that technique. Can you do some little adjust to make that happen, or do I need to look for another technique? Maybe your coach can give you the little tools to okay, besides to go around that way, push the leg a little bit farther, that way you're going to be able to hook, Or he can say, okay, that's not going to be a good position for you. Besides to go for the De La Riva, let's go for the spider guard.
Right.
Like, try to see whatever you can do it. I have some big guys here who want to play bottom, and they move so slow, and say, listen, man, nothing wrong to be big and play bottom. But if you move too slow, you give a lot of time for the guy move. Let's do this. When you go with a small people, try to be on top. That way you can use your body pressure, body weight to help you to hold the person. And when you go with some other big guy, you can play bottom because the big guy going to be slow like you. And then you guys can play little bit slow piece, but you're going to be more strength. And then strength, the big guys, most of the time, they have the strength, Like, I try to teach them how to understand how the game can work or not. And if they see the game doesn't work at all, just change. Go for another game. We have so many variations. Go for another technique. Try to apply other things until you find something who is really good for you.
Yeah, and that's a great advice. And perhaps one of the reasons why also people get injury is usually trying to do something that their body is just not conditioned to do, right? And forcing a situation that they are not condition to apply. And you gave a perfect example of the De La Riva. Some people just don't have the flexibility after 40s to do those movements. So it's good that you use this approach to say, okay, let's leverage what you have best in your body to do your movements.
Yep. Yeah, perfect. And also, like, I think as well, like, another thing I try to teach my students, that's a really good advice. After I start to teach that for my students to go level up. Of course, as a white belt and blue belt, sometimes it's hard to do that. But as a purple belt, in my opinion, every single purple belt, you need to know what game you have. You know, if you're a purple belt, you don't know your game, something's wrong. You know, because as a white belt, you can play a little bit everything. You don't know anything yet. You want to test yourself and see what works better for you. As a blue belt, you're supposed to start to say, hey, Formiga, I know I prefer to be on bottom, or I know I prefer to be on top. But from bottom, I felt really comfortable when I have a double sleeve or when I have a coloring sleeve. And that tell me, okay, if you like to have a double sleeve, you can play that game. If you like to have a coloring sleeve, you can play that game. If you prefer to be on top with their grips, you know, whatever the guys give me the opportunity to explain, and I'm going to build in the game for that person on the best grip they have, the best situation they feel, you know. And I believe every single purple belt and above is supposed to have a game. And from that game, you start developing more techniques, of course, until you're building a big leg, until you have a lot of techniques, you know.
Talking about game, you already mentioned that you do have a very well-established game on the butterfly. But when you are in a fight and you are positioned in a situation that this really is not your game, do you always go to a fight already thinking what you're gonna do, or you adapt your plan according to the situation? Because a lot of people say, I'm gonna go and do this, then suddenly they are exposed to a situation that they were like, oh shit, I really cannot do what I need to do now. I need to do something else, right? So I know that for black belts they always see multiple paths to follow. But did you ever had that situation that you were like, oh shit, I need to change my plan now?
Yes, I do have different ways, the same situation. Like, the good thing, like you said, right? As a black belt, because you train so much, you're able to develop it from every single situation, a way to go back for your game. That's my goal, right? Whatever way you are, I will probably have one little way to adjust myself and go back for my game, all right? But let's say that doesn't happen for some reason. The guy beat me all my chance to go back to my game. I still know a lot of other techniques which I can apply. Not really well like my game, but can be enough to end up sweeping the guy or passing the guy guard or whatever situation I need to be, you know. But my suggestion, like, I did that for my whole life, and that's why I believe I'm a good instructor and good on almost every technique in Jiu-Jitsu. Every single day, my coach teaches a technique. I don't know the way people training, but in my academy, we have a week topping, right? Let's say this week you're talking about passing De La Riva, all right? And then if that week my coach talk about passing De La Riva, I force myself to allow the guy to put him in the De La Riva to be able to apply all the passings he teach me, you know. And if the next week he's talking about takedowns, I'm gonna be on my feet and try to apply all the takedown he teach me, you know. And that way helped me a lot to develop a little bit from everything, you know. I still have my main game. I mean, I always look for my main game, but every week I try to apply all the technique he teach me. That way I start to learn really well every single technique and be able to, like, see, okay, if that happen, I need to go for the next step and the next step. And if for some reason nothing work, I'm go back to my game, you know, like, like that, you know. That's why helped me a lot to understand how to teach people, and then also to understand how to apply the technique in the real time, you know.
One of the things that you mentioned earlier was about your cardio, and I know that one of the key aspect of the cardio is also how you breathe, right? Mainly in situations that you are uncomfortable. If you panic, you're gonna spend a lot of energy. Uh, did you had problems in the beginning when you were like blue or purple to manage your gas? In other words, you were gassing out really fast because you were not able to control the situation, and you just spending a lot of energy doing nothing.
Yes. I mean, my cardio always was good because I start young. You know, when you're
Right.
young, with the cardio, right? But the thing about breathing the right time and don't get a panic, I think that helped me to start young. When I started, I was 10. In the past, in the back of the day, we don't have a kids class. It's all combined, right? My Jiu-Jitsu academy from 10 years old to 14, I train with all the adults. And the adults, most of the time, my coach put me with the guy who's tired already. The guys just want to lay down on me and take a time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I try to do everything, nothing working because I have no strength, and the people just breathe on me, you know. But also that helped me to not panic because for my whole beginnings, like my first 3 years, pretty much I was on bottom. People smashing me. I was like, I was smashed by 100 kilos guys, you know, 200 pounds, 220, you know, guys in Brazil who is smashing me. I was little kid, like 10 years old, probably about 45 kilos, 50 kilos, and just get all those guys smashing me. And that helped me to be comfortable now when the big guys be heavy on me. I just feel, okay, that's nothing for me. I'm used to being in that situation all the time. I never panic in those situations, you know. I'm really calm in those positions, and that definitely helped me to be calm. And another thing what I think helped my cardio to be really good, the way I train. I'm really aggressive on my training, you know, aggressive in the good way, of course. Like I try to don't stop until the time done, you know, that's my goal. I try to play with the other guy's mind, like to work super hard and push to make the other person guys out, and that way I can start to go easy after. And most of the time after the guy gets out, I'm able to do whatever I want, you know.
Yeah.
And one of my goals. And one thing I do help a lot, like I have it explosion times. Let's say I'm fighting for 6 minutes, right? I cannot go 6 minutes straight and don't stop moving, right?
Right, right.
Two is I break it down in small windows. Like let's say I decide to attack for 1 minute or 30 seconds, and then I will have 10 seconds stop, catch my breath, you know, and then another 30 seconds. I go like pausing that 6 minutes, I break it down in 5 rounds to 30 seconds, let's say something like that, you know, and then I stop for 20 seconds to catch my breath, and then go again, and then stop again, and keep that way, and then that worked really well, you know.
Yeah, because you are able to save energy and to strategically explode when you see it, the opportunity, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the important thing. When you see the opportunity, you have to have gas to explode.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, great. Now, moving from the physical cardio aspect to the psychological aspect, a lot of people, when it comes to competition, many times they have hard time controlling the nerves, right? A lot of people does that, and even black belts. I talked to many black belts, and they were like, "Well, I always get nerves before the competition, and it gets better when I get there, but there is always that anxiety before competing." Do you also experience that?
Uh, yes, not anymore. I mean, now I still have it. Not the I didn't get it too crazy, but I do get excited to go. You know, like if I compete in three big competitions, making me like that. World Master, Pan Ams, and European. You know, those three competitions. When I prepare myself really well, like those competition put it pressure on my shoulder where I wanna win. And those time I felt nervous in the competition, but in the good way. Doesn't make me blind like a lot of people when go competing, they get a completely blind and they doesn't do anything. In my way, do the opposite. You know, I just need to manage it to don't pass. You know, because what happened, I get so excited when I get in the first match, I wanna kill, and then if I go too much, I will get out in the next match. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I try to manage it to first round start aggressive, but not go over aggressive to don't get out. You know, I try to between my fight, and then little by little I gotta calm down, and then most of the time in the second match I'm completely fine. The first match always the problem. After the first match, I start to calm down, and then because I already know, like, you know, we have those days. We never know if that day I'm gonna compete well or not, you know. And then after first match, I'm able to see, okay, I'm doing really well today. I feel strong, everything working the place, you know. I'm good. I will do really well today. And then we have the opposite. I have those days where I say, man, nothing working today. I need to play competition mode, like not expose myself, just go for one little advantage. That way I can win the competition, you know, and then I can manage that as well too, you know. That's what I try to do.
And what do you do for your students, right? Because you as a professor, you probably feel when your student is nervous. What do you do to calm them down?
Okay, first thing, I never put pressure on them. I never say, look, you got to win. If you not win, you're going to be in trouble or something like that. Never. In my academy, competition is just to have fun. I don't care if you win or lose. You're going to be my friend. You're going to be my student. I don't care. Of course, if you do mistakes, the next day you're going to come in the gym and fix all the mistakes, you know. I'm always going to work to make my students get better and improve in the next competition, be able to do better. But you never will be in the mean way. You're never going to see me like outside there and call the guy, say, what the fuck? No, never going to happen like that. Never going to see me like this. I think that's a good point. And then I try to tell them, if you want to be a good competitor, you need to compete a lot. You know, more time you're on the match competing, that you start to make you building a confidence, you start to calm down a little bit, you start to understand better the process, and that's going to make you more calm, and then you're going to start to compete better and better and better. You know, that's what happened with me, and I believe that's what's going to happen with everybody else.
Yeah, so competing more, you believe that by competing more, the person will be more conditioned to handle the pressure?
100%, 100%. I remember my first 3 competitions, I couldn't sleep for a week. I go in the bathroom the day 20 times, you know. Like I have like my hands sweating, my feet sweating, my whole body sweating, you know. And then little by little, as I competing more, I start to manage that better and better and better and better and better. Until now, for me, competing is the same way to come into the gym training. You know, nothing changed. It's just one more day, you know, because I competed pretty much every other weekend. You know, that's what make me like really calm in those competitions.
Yeah. No, yeah, I saw you at the Dallas Open, extremely calm about that. But as you said, when it comes to words, it has a different hype, right? Because it's the World Championship, you have a name, so that's put a lot of pressure on you. People are expecting and were watching what you're gonna do. I think that this also adds a more pressure on you as well.
Yes, 100% agree. And then that's why I told you the words and Panams and Europeans that make me a little bit more concentrate before the fight. Like you see me in Dallas, you know, I mean, sit down, hang with everybody, talking, you know. And then in those big competitions, you're probably gonna see me with my headset, don't talk with anybody, try to keep my focus, think about my fight. I will do my homework, study every single guy I'm supposed to compete against and see what they're doing. How can I stop the game? Where my game is gonna fit well against that guy, against the other guy, you know. I do that homework as well too, you know.
That's great. That's great. The this advice about not putting pressure on the student, I think, is very important. I've seen some very extreme cases where the instructor, the professor, was screaming at the student when he lost, and it's just disappointing because at the end of the day, as you said, most of the people that are competing, that they are there as a hobby. They are not professionals, so the experience should be like, let's have fun, let's learn. And there is a big value, I think, in my opinion, there is a big value when you lose, because when you lose, you also see a lot of your mistakes. So many times that loss is all what you need to learn what you should not do.
I can use myself as example. If I win the competition, pretty much I don't remember anything I did, you know, because I just did what I'm doing every day. But if I lose for anybody in the competition, I will tell right there after the match, I did that mistake. Or I mess up here and the guy take that mistake and then he do whatever he want. You know, that's the best way to never forget your mistakes, and that way you can study and make it better and doesn't let that happen again, you know.
So when you look back of your competition, which match do you believe are one of the hardest one for you? That you were like, wow, this one it was probably my toughest one.
Yeah, the rock on my shoes it was Michael Lange. You know, we fought like I was lightweight division. Michael Lange was, I think he's 7-time world champion as a doe, and we fought maybe 5 or 6 times, and then I lost most of the time by advantage for him. I think one time he beat me more than that one advantage, but most of the time it was advantage, and I never beat him. Definitely he was the person who is giving me the hard time, you know. Maybe if he doesn't do jiu-jitsu, I could be world champion as a doe, you know. And but he just helped me, you know. I believe he helped me and helping him because he knows I was a tough opponent, and he worked harder to beat me. And I know he's my tough opponent. I work extremely hard to be able to one day beat him. Never happened, but it was always a really good battle. He definitely was my main opponent, you know.
And did you ever experience a situation where it was a little bit the opposite? Like you went to a fight, you didn't even know the guy, or the guy was not very well known, so you were a little confident, and then the guy surprised you. Did you ever experience that?
Yeah, it's more as a color belt. As a black belt, it's hard to find people like that, right? But as a color belt, yes. One time I remember I fought as a purple belt, and I show up I went to a small town in São Paulo, and then they have their little competition. They paid money, you know. Was in that time 2,000 reais. It was a lot of money, you know. Now everybody paid double, a lot of more money. But I traveled for that place in São Paulo just to fight. There has nobody with a name. I said, man, you know what? I'm going to fight that competition. I don't know any person. And end up in there. My first match was a guy who doesn't look a fight at all. A little chubby guy, you know. And the guy just passed my guard. And in that point, almost nobody passed my guard. You know, I was crazy about recovering, really and the guy passed my guard and beat me by 3-0. And that was a good for me wake up because I believe the guy was really good at passing, but it was a little bit my problem because I was suburban, you know, oh, nobody gonna beat me here. I'm Formiga, you know, in that point I was nobody, you know, just a purple belt, try to become someone, you know. And the guy surprised me, and that was a good wake up. Listen, next time you make sure you go 100% from the first second until the end. That way they're not gonna happen again. It was a nice lesson for myself, definitely.
Yeah, no, I love those type of example because, as you said, you learn so much with those examples. You're like, I cannot take things for granted. I need to be serious regardless of my opponent.
Yep, yeah. And I use now as example, when I compete on any competition, I remember I was my last year in adult division. That was 9 years ago. Okay, I competed in New York. And a guy who's 55 years old signed up to compete in my division, you know. And my wife say, hey, you got to take it easy on him, baby. He look like your grandpa. I say, listen, he signed up in that division. That means he can take.
Yeah.
I'll fight against him like I'm fight with the world champion. I don't care. And then I end up submit the guy, you know. And after I was super nice with the guy. I'm sorry, you know, that's my job. I come here to fight, you know. I just did what I was supposed to do. And the guy, man, listen, that was a pleasure for me to fight again. The guy was super nice. But that was a good, perfect example. If he walk on the match and shake my hand, I don't care if he's big, he's small. I'm going to do my best to beat that guy, you know. After we finish, hug, friend. But during the match, forget about be friend. I'm going to do my job, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that taking serious is also a matter of respect. It shows that you respect him, right? It's not only that you are taking serious because you want to win, but you are giving respect. Why I'm gonna go light with you just because you're old? If you are here to fight, I'm gonna go hard, right?
Yeah, I can use your teammate as example. You know, I fought with Diego on the final, the open class, and Diego coming to me, hey, Formiga, I'm your fan. I training you at a black belt. I was a white belt. Can you take it easy on me? I say, hey, Diego. Diego beat Secone, one of the top guys on Master 2, you know. He's my tough opponent on Master 2, you know. And then I say, man, you just beat Secone. No way he can take it easy on you, because if I take it easy on you, you get in your game, I know going to be hard for me. I'm going to go 100% on you. And he said, okay, no, you're right. I'm just joking. It wasn't just joking. I know he doesn't ask me to go easy. He just want to play with me.
Yeah.
But Why? And I really agree with, I really think about that, like, man, I cannot go easy because I can go with the, maybe one purple belt can give me a hard time if he put me on his game. That's why I need to start from first, second until to the end, go on my piece. That way the guy will not be able to manage my techniques, and then probably I will be able to win,
Yeah, no, that's I love that example too. We talk a lot of about many things, and I appreciate you taking the time. I know that you just finished teaching a class, so thank you for staying a little bit late here to talk about this. To wrap up, for me, what is your general advice for people that are try to improve their jiu-jitsu? Because as I mainly, again, going back to old folks like myself, master, do you believe that there is a kind of average? You have to roll 4 times a day and train 3 times a week. What is the sweet spot you believe is?
Okay.
As much rolls as you can do per training, or you think you can manage, between 3, 5? What is your general advice on that?
Okay, that's what I'm doing in my academy. Okay, for everybody, not just for over 40, but over 40 going to work as well. Okay, I try to do at least 5 rounds a day. Okay, over 40 years old, my recommendation, train 3 times a week and try to do 5 rounds a day. Why 5 rounds? Most of the time we have between 3 to 5 matches in competition. If you want to be a competitor, it's important to do at least 5 rounds, because if you compete in 5 times, if you never do 5 rounds in your academy, how come you're going to be prepared to competing if you never did that? Makes sense? Like, you're going to probably guys out in the second round and not be able to do the last 2, the last 3, That's why my suggestion, I always do at least 5 rounds, And the other thing I think is important to listen to your body, That's the only person who is going to need you to tell you something, I mean, of course, your coach and your body, What do you mean with your body? Man, if you feel exhausting, like nothing left, I can't training, man, why are you going to the gym? Take that day off. Go the next day, Understand that day you go super tired to the gym, that's the day you're probably going to get an injury, probably not going to learn anything because your mind is not there, Doesn't worth your time to go to the gym. Take that day off, and go on the next day when you feel better, feel strong, and that way you can do way better and learn new techniques and fight harder, and that's going to work way better, My goal, over 40 years old, I will suggest 3 times a week, 5 rounds each of those times, and then try to see what kind of game is going to work for you. Try to always bring your partners to your game. That way you play your game and not play somebody's game, what going to make you way more tired, And also don't try to be a superhero. Remember, you're over 40. If you get any injury, you're going to be a way longer time to recover than when you are 17, 20 years old, Be calm. If they have a submission, you're probably going to tap you anyway. If you wait too long, you're going to hurt yourself and end up tapping. If you're tapping before, you're not going to hurt yourself, and you just tap, shaking hands, and then maybe you have a chance to submit the guy after that, That's a good, really good, think like you.
Yeah, that's a good mindset.
People,
Yeah, no, this is a very important mindset. Formiga, thank you very much again for your time. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Really hope that folks find this conversation important, because I thought it was full of great tips, not only for competitors but BJJ practitioners. And thanks for sharing your story. I appreciate it.
Welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to share my a little bit about me, a little bit about what I'm thinking about Jiu-Jitsu. It's amazing I know a lot of people are going to watch there, and that's going to help a lot of people. And I'm here anytime you need me, man. Just let me know. We can do another one soon.
All right, my friend. Take care. And thanks everyone for tuning in on the Overcome podcast. See you again next time.
So guys, take care, guys. Thank you, everyone.